Today we're going to go over a resource that is widely used in the county in which I have my field placement. It is called Prodigy, which can be found at prodigygame.com. Prodigy is an RPG-based math game where students are able to use their math skills in order to defeat monsters and complete quests, which earns them pets, gear, and items. So we're going to go through the teacher's dashboard. There is also a parent's dashboard to help parents keep track of how their student is progressing, and allows them to send them gifts and set them goals and send them cheers. We're not going to go over that today. Instead, we're just going to go over the teacher dashboard. So all we need to do is hit View Dashboard, and then we are met with this screen. This screen shows how many questions are answered by my students. My classroom only has one student in it because I don't actually have a real class. This is just my daughter who has been playing for the last 2 days. If you scroll down on this dashboard, you'll see that there is a section called Assessments. And under Assessments, you'll see Placement Test. The placement test is something that every student has to go through. It is kind of like the tutorial portion of pretty much any game you ever take, except for instead of getting you up to speed, it's getting itself up to speed. So it is assessing where the student is academically so that it can give them the appropriate problems and the appropriate questions at their grade level so they don't become super frustrated, but also so that they can build them up to where they need to be. So if you have a student who is struggling with algebraic thinking like my student is, then you don't want to throw her into the middle of, say, advanced second grade algebraic thinking questions, because she's going to struggle, she's going to become super frustrated, and she's not going to get anywhere. So what Prodigy does instead is it meets the students where they are to help build them up to where they need to be. Along the same vein, you can make your own assessments. That way you can keep the students doing the same content curricula that you were teaching in class. However, when you do make these, the Prodigy will still be feeding them the material that they are at, the level that they are at, so that they can catch up to where you are. But it kind of works them both in to make sure that they're getting exposure and that they still complete the work that you have assigned. It's just not the only thing they'll be exposed to. So if we go to View Assessments, we are able to create our own assessment. So we're going to plan to keep our student within the standard. And then we're brought up to this, and we can choose any grade level we want. But my student's a second grader, so we'll be sticking to the second grade standard. And then you can pick any 3 standards that you need. And this way, let's say we want a geometry standard, and I want to teach, recognize, and draw shapes, and I'm going to hit next. And this way, this will go with my unit that I am teaching. So I'm going to go geometry, and then I'm going to hit next. And now I can choose any dates that these start. So I'm going to say this starts, they can't overlap, so I need days that aren't overlapping. Okay, so this is going to start on the 14th of March and end on the 20th of March. And then it's going to pop up. So it's going to tell me how long the course, the assessment takes for the students to complete. And based on how many days I selected, it will tell me how much time my students will need to dedicate to Prodigy so that they can complete the assessment. So according to this, the standard that I chose will take 35 minutes, And that equals out to about 5 minutes a day, which is pretty doable, especially in a busy school day. So we're going to hit got it, and then it's scheduled. Now that we've created an assessment, we can go into the reports here on the bottom left. So here is the hub for all of the data for everything your students are doing. We have the progress report that shows which students are performing at grade level, below grade level, or well below grade level. And in this case, my one student is performing below grade level. But if you had more than one student, they'd populate in where they need to go under whatever category they need to be in. Now, we're back to the reports page, and we're going to click on student comprehension, and that brings us to this page, and we can choose our students. I only have one student again, and then we can choose our date range. So I'm going to choose the last 7 days, and this will show how well my student is performing and what exactly has she been doing. So it looks like she's been completing a lot of first grade material, which is good since she was performing below standard. But down here, she's also doing second grade, and she is struggling really hard with her second grade material. This is the stuff that I had assigned to her through the assessments tab. So knowing that she was performing below grade level, it does not surprise me seeing these scores right here, but it is very important that she is exposed to it as part of the curriculum so that hopefully it will help get her to where she needs to be. So, and then if we go back to reports, we can also see the student usage report. That's the same chart we see on our home page. And then we can see our weekly reports, our placement tests, see how well that did. This was her placement test. And as you can see, you can essentially click on every single individual student. And then we can also see the report on what exactly we have scheduled when, what curricula is happening when, so that we can keep that as organized as we do our in-classroom material. So we're going to go back. And this is topic coverage, and this shows how much of what she is being exposed to and whether or not she is doing fine. So for addition to 100, it looks like she is struggling with the first bits here. And then it'll show you exactly which students they are, and then a sample question so that you know what they need to work on very specifically. So that's it for the basics of the teacher dashboard. However, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a rundown on the way it looks from the student perspective. So this is the screen that the kids are met with when they first log in. They can log in via their Clever, via Google, or a username and password. This little pop-up here that says new teacher, if you click on that, and if a kid just joined your class or you're just setting up your classroom, every student will need to have your teacher code, which is on your dashboard. And then they type in the code, and then now they're a part of your classroom, and their information will start uploading to your dashboard. I don't need this because she's already a part of my class. So we're going to hit next. And the student can choose whether or not they're in school or at home. We are currently at home, so I'm going to hit home, and then they get to choose the world in which they play in. So I'm going to hit Dragonfire. And we're going to skip out of that. We're going to turn down that music because it's pretty loud. So we're going to come around. There we go. And we're going to start a wizard battle. So we're going to attack, and when we attack, a math problem comes up. And whether or not our attacks are effective are dependent on whether or not we get the math problem correct. Every time we get it wrong, we take a hit and our life goes down. When we get them right, we are the ones who hit, and the monster's health goes down. So here's one of the word problems. Sage wants to sort 86 teddy bears. 86. And when her friends came over, they decided to take 5 teddy bears to her cousins. And that's 81. And then Sage decides to take 40 teddy bears to the children's hospital. So how many teddy bears does she have left? So we know that's 41. Woo, we got it correct. And then we're able to attack. And of course the monster attacks us. This is a turn-based RPG. It's pretty basic. But then we get the chance to attack again. And now we have another word problem. And every time we do an action during a battle, we have to answer our word problems or our math problems. They're not always word problems. It's just this is the part in which she's in. So Reagan has earned 65 cards in a game that she likes to play. While playing the game, she bought a new toy for 1 cards. The next day, she played the game again and bought an apple for 30 cards. How many does Reagan have left? So that's 4. 34. That looks right. So when a student, or if a student is having issues with say subtraction or addition or any of the problems, they can always hit the little question mark. And the little question mark will help them through, give them the scaffolding they need in order to complete the problem correctly. So in this case, they told me I needed to subtract, and they gave me a 100s chart so that I could count backwards. So, oh no, what did I say the answer was? What did I say the answer was? 34? 34. Yeah. So, and then we attack. And we've defeated the monster. Yay! Math saves the day. And then we win. And we're met with rewards. So I leveled up, or rather my daughter's character leveled up. She got hearts. She's gotten stars. And with the stars, they get coins. Right here. They get coins, and the more coins they have, the more they can purchase from the game store. Hey, I got something. And then there's fun things that you can get. There's a store in which you can buy things and pets that you can buy. And the more you play, the more you can buy. Thank you for listening to me today. I hope you consider adding Prodigy to your math toolkits. I think it would really help some students really make a connection with math and make something that a lot of kids struggle with a little bit more fun.